Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am Dr. Razia. We will discuss in our lectures about the renal physiology. In previous class, I will discuss about the GF, membrane and the GFR. Now today we will discuss about the determinant of the GFR. The determinant of GFR are the pressures which determine the GFR. These are number 1 the glomerular capillary pressure, number 2 the colloid osmotic pressure, and number 3 is the hydrostatic pressure in the Bowman capsule. These pressures determine the GFR either by favoring and opposing the filtration. So the determination of net filtration pressure is based on the Starling hypothesis. The Starling hypothesis states the net filtration through capillary membrane is proportional to the hydrostatic pressure differences across the membrane, and which depends upon the different forces, either that are favoring forces or the opposing forces. So glomerular filtration by the mechanism of the bulk flow, direction of movement from the glomerular capillaries to the capsular space. The driving forces are the pressure gradient or the net filtration pressure. The type of pressures depend upon the favoring force, which are the capillary blood pressure or the glomerular capillary pressure, and the opposing forces are the blood colloid osmotic pressure and the capsular pressure. As you can see in this pictures, the capillary and the glomerular capillary pressure. Glomerular capillary pressure is the pressure exerted by the blood in the glomerular capillaries. It is about 60 mm. You can see in this pictures mmHg or the millimeter mercury, and the variations between 45 to 70 millimeter mercury. Glomerular capillary pressure is the highest capillary pressure in the body. This pressure favors the glomerular filtration. And the next is the colloid osmotic pressure. It is the pressure exerted by the plasma protein in the glomeruli. The plasma proteins are not filtered through the glomerular capillaries and remain in the glomerular capillaries. These proteins develop the colloid osmotic pressure, which is about 32 millimeter mercury. This is the opposing force and come inside from outside of the tubules. And third are the hydrostatic pressure or the capsular pressure. It is the pressure exerted by the filtrate in the Bowman capsule. It is also called as the capsular pressure. It is about 18 millimeter mercury. So the net filtration pressure, in the last line you can see that net filtration pressure is the balance between the pressure favoring filtration and pressure opposing filtration. It is otherwise known as effective filtration pressure or the essential filtration pressure. So the net filtration pressure is equal to the glomerular capillary pressure minus colloid osmotic pressure and the hydrostatic pressures. So the capsular pressure, it is the 60 millimeter mercury, and the colloid and the capsular pressure that are 32 minus 32 and the minus 18 millimeter mercury respectively. So the net filtration pressure, it is about 10 millimeter mercury out of the glomerulus. So net filtration pressure is based on the Starling hypothesis. The Starling hypothesis Hypostatic pressure within the glomerular capillaries is the glomerular capillary pressure. All the pressure involved in determination of the filtration are called the Starling forces. So 10 millimeter mercury is the final Snell filtration from the glomerulus into the tubular portion. So glomerular filtration membrane, which we discussed in our previous lecture, and the GFR amount of filtrate produced in the kidney in each minute, it is about 125 milliliter per minute or the 180 liter per the day. Factor that alter the filtration pressure changes are: number 1, increase renal blood flow, which will lead to increase the GFR, decrease plasma protein, which also increase the GFR, causes the, and the hemorrhages decrease capillary pressure, decrease the GFR. Now we will discuss here about the regulation of the GFR. So GFR, it is regulated according to the adjustment of the blood flow. GFR is regulated using 3 mechanisms. Number 1, the renal autoregulation, number 2, the neural regulation, and number 3 one, the hormonal regulation. We will discuss it one by one. All 3 mechanisms adjust the renal blood pressure and resulting the blood flow. So first of all, we discuss about the renal regulation or the renal autoregulations. It composed of the 3 subclasses: the renal blood flow, number 2, the tubuloglomerular feedback, and number 3, the myogenic autoregulation of the renal blood flow and the GFR. First of all, we discuss about the renal blood flow. It is the most important factor that is necessary from glomerular filtration. GFR is directly proportional to the renal blood flow. Normal blood flow to both the kidney is 1300 ml per minute. So renal blood flow itself is controlled by the autoregulation. And second, the most important mechanism, that are the tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism. You can see here in the flow chart that the tubuloglomerular feedback is the mechanism that regulate the GFR through renal tubule and the macula densa. The macula densa of the JG apparatus in the terminal portion of thick ascending limb is sensitive to the sodium chloride in the tubular fluids. When the glomerular filtrate passes through the terminal portion of thick ascending segments, macula densa act as a sensor. It detects the concentration of sodium chloride in the tubular fluid and accordingly alter the glomerular blood flow and the GFR. Macula densa detect the sodium chloride concentration via the sodium, potassium and chloride co-transporters. When the concentration of sodium chloride increases in the filtrate, when GFR is increases, as you can see in this diagram, the concentration of sodium chloride increases in the filtrate. Macula densa release the adenosine from the ATP. Adenosine causes constriction of the afferent arteriole. So the blood flow through the glomerulus decreases, leading to decrease in GFR. Adenosine act on afferent arteriole via the adenosine A1 receptors. There are several other factors which increase or decrease the sensitivity of the glomerular feedback mechanisms. So when the concentration of the sodium decreases in the filtrate, macula densa secrete prostaglandins, bradykinin and the renin. Prostaglandin and the bradykinin causes dilatation of the afferent arteriole. Renin induce the formation of the angiotensin II, which causes the constriction of efferent arteriole, the dilatation of the afferent arteriole and constriction of efferent arteriole lead to increase in glomerular blood flow and the GFR. So, the kidney has a special feedback that link with the sodium chloride concentration at the macula densa, which control of the afferent arteriolar resistance and autoregulation of GFR. The tubuloglomerular feedback has two components. One is the afferent arteriolar feedback mechanism and efferent feedback mechanism. The JG cells consist of macula densa cell in the initial portion of the distal tubule and the JG cell in the wall of the afferent arterioles and the efferent arterioles. When there is decreased macula densa, sodium chloride causes dilatation of the afferent arteriole and increase renin release, activating the tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism, which increases the renal blood flow and the GFR in case of especially the diabetes mellitus, and excess sodium reabsorbed with the glucose. So again we will discuss the tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism. When the arterial pressure is increases, glomerular capillary pressure will also increases, which can lead to increase the GFR and the tubular flow. Increases the macula densa, vasoconstricted secretions and increase the afferent arteriolar vasoconstrictions, which decrease the afferent arteriolar blood flow. In response to their decrease the glomerular capillary blood flow, which leads towards the normal. Again, the second mechanism we will discuss about the myogenic autoregulation, myogenic mechanisms of the autoregulation. In this mechanism, it depends upon the blood flow. Blood flow is equal to the capillary pressure and by the tubular resistance or the flow resistance. Now the mechanism of the autoregulation is the tubuloglomerular feedback. There are two mechanisms operating at the same time. One is the arteriolar vasodilator theory. When GFR decreases, over reabsorption of the sodium and chloride in the ascending limb, that leads to decrease the sodium chloride concentration at the macula densa, which lead to dilate the atria, afferent arteriole, increase blood flow and increase the GFR. And in the second, efferent arteriole vasoconstriction, same till macula densa. Then the JG cell release renin, which can convert the angiotensinogen into angiotensin II, and the efferent arteriole constrict, which will increase the GFR. And next we will discuss the neural regulation of the GFR. Sympathetic nerve fiber innervate the afferent and the efferent arteriole. Normally the sympathetic stimulation is low but can increase during hemorrhage and the exercise. Vasoconstriction occur as a result, which conserve blood volume and permit greater blood flow to other body, especially during the exercise. And the third is the hormonal regulation of GFR. Several hormones contribute to regulate the GFR. These are angiotensin II, produced by the renin, released by the JG apparatus, is a potent vasoconstrictor which reduces the GFR. And the atrial natriureteric peptide, which is released by the atria when it is stretched, it will also increases the GFR by increasing capillary surface area available for the filtration. Nitrous oxide, endothelin and the prostaglandin, these are the hormonal regulation, some factors which can regulate the hormones. Now comes to the measurement of the GFR. It is 125 ml of plasma is cleared per minute in the glomerulus. If a substance is filtered but neither reabsorbed nor secreted, then the amount present in the urine is its plasma clearance. And how these are measured, we will discuss it inshallah in our next class. I hope you will understand. Thank you.